Welcome back to Thick Boy ZKS. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is going to be a little different. It's just me, Thick Boy Z, on the microphone because we had a bit of an issue with episodes 4 and 5, so we're just going to mash the details of those two episodes into this with a few pictures explaining along the way. So let's just hop right into that and I will explain everything for you. So here we are at the beginning of episode 4. We're trying to escape from the auction which we just disturbed by stealing the cross of St. Dismas, and we end up running into an old friend of Sullivan's, Nadine, who happens to own a private army for some reason. Anyways, we get thrown out of a window by her and have to meet up with our brother and escape the party alongside Victor Sullivan, who is our expert driver in this situation. After carefully navigating our way out of the party and in the expert care of our driver, Victor Sullivan, we end up in a hotel somewhere where we open up the St. Dismas cross to find our clue leading towards Henry Avery's treasure, where we find out we have to go to Scotland to the St. Dismas Cathedral. Unfortunately for us, this cathedral houses our now mortal enemies, Rafe and Nadine, as they are also looking for Henry Avery's treasure. This means we are going to be in for quite the fight when we get there, but you know us, Nathan Drake and Sam Drake, we are ready for anything. After a few gunfights along the way, we finally make it to the graveyard, where we come face to face with the supposed grave of Henry Avery, where we turn a skull on it and find a passageway underground. As we adventure down into the passage, we find we have to do a puzzle that will actually lead us to where we're meant to be. As soon as we figure out the puzzle, we go back above ground, do a few more fights, a lot of parkour, and we end up in a large underground cavern where we end off episode 4. We open into episode 5, right where we left off in episode 4, and we start adventuring into this dark cavern. We pretty quickly stumble upon a fun, intricate puzzle that Uncle K quickly solves with his masterful techniques, as we've all seen in the past. After completing the puzzle and doing some more adventuring within the cavern, we end up squarely underneath the center of the cathedral, where we can hear above us Nadine and Rafe discussing, of all things, us. And it's not good from the sounds of it. After yet more adventuring within the cavern, we end up above ground and in the cathedral where we just heard Rafe and Nadine talking. We have to complete a puzzle there, which is just a test of your greed. After we complete this test, we are shown a map of where we must go next, and that place is Madagascar. However, we are rudely interrupted by Nadine and her army, where we, as Nathan Drake, cleverly decide to tell them to take the coins that are sitting atop the puzzle we just completed, which actually makes the entire building we're inside begin to crumble and collapse. Luckily for us, the collapse of the building does not kill us, but it does give us enough time to get away from them and get to our good friend Victor Sullivan, who is waiting us in a seaplane, and we head off to Madagascar. After arriving Madagascar, we secure ourselves some wheels as to get around the countryside, and we look for exactly what we came here for, which is more clues leading towards the treasure of Henry Avery. If you've been with us for this long, you know that nothing can go right in these games, and they don't. So there's bad guys on the island. What do you know? Crazy shocker, right? So naturally, we have to carefully navigate them by killing them all and getting to where we need to be, which is an old set of ruins from the time when Henry Avery navigated this island. Oddly enough, settled right near a volcano of all things. But before we can even get to these ruins, we have a lengthy gunfight where Uncle K dies a few times. Good job, Uncle K, good job indeed. Luckily, as with all things, Uncle K navigates it eventually, and we make our way down into the ruins by the volcano, and we find our next clue towards the treasure. After we figure out the clue that we came here looking for, we realize we need to go separate ways to two different towers on Madagascar in Kings Bay. Unfortunately for us, these two locations are on opposite ends of Kings Bay, so we are seriously out of luck if anything terrible happens to one of us. And unfortunately, that is where we leave off episode 5, and thusly we end off this video. I would muchly like to apologize to you, ladies and gentlemen, for not being able to show you the entirety of episodes 4 and 5, but alas, here you are watching this, and I hope it is sufficient. We will be back on Tuesday with another full episode, I promise you. But thank you for tuning into this recap episode, so you won't miss too much of what happened in between the missing episodes and episode 6. Thank you very much again. And as always, we will catch you on the flip side.